The Empire of Pareena prides itself on being a modern society. If you ever walk the streets of the major cities, like the first city, you'll notice that there is not a single dragon sleeping rough, not a single dragon begging for a handout. That's because the Empire has eliminated any sense of class warfare by gifting dragons who need it the basic resources for life. Hi, I'm your host Heatwave, and in today's Lore episode, I'll be exploring the public amenities and resources afforded to the dragons of Pareena. 3 moons above. Why do I always have to drink so much orange juice? Why do I keep doing this to myself? I gotta go. Welcome back to the Wings of Fire spin-off series, Empire of Pareena. If you haven't done so already, please leave a like, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes that I publish. If you remember back to my episode on the Imperial Civil Service, I mentioned that one of its sub-departments is dedicated to providing the wider population of the Empire with its basic needs. This is based on the trifecta of needs. For clarity, a trifecta is a dragon organization tool that takes three concepts, ideas, or items and connects them into a holistic triangle. For example, the trifecta of warfare is a holistic approach to warfare that uses three interconnected concepts like infantry, armor, and artillery. The same example can be given to plants. A plant's needs can form a trifecta. It needs water, sunlight, and good soil. So what about dragons? What is their trifecta of needs? A dragon can comfortably build a trifecta around three basic life support concepts. A dragon needs, of course, food, a steady supply of food that meets their dietary requirements and is nutritious and filling. A dragon needs shelter, a safe, dry, warm place to sleep and rest, somewhere that's away from the harsher elements of the environment. And finally, a dragon needs a space to conduct their basic bodily functions, somewhere where their waste can be funneled to and away from food and shelter, but also a place to allow dragons to keep a good sense of hygiene. The imperial government thus determines that the basic needs of a dragon is food, shelter, and amenities. That's the basic life trifecta of a dragon, and is what has influenced how the Empire can provide these three needs. In Pareena's past, before the Empire times, a dragon wasn't given any handouts by a higher ruling power. Well, maybe the Rainwing and Mudwing Collective, but the point is, a dragon had to find their own food, and their own shelter. Fortunately, dragons did understand not to use restrooms wherever they pleased. They at least had that standard before the War of Unification. But it's an unfortunate reality that not every dragon can afford their basic needs. Some dragons don't wish to spend their gold. Others may not be able to hunt or fend for themselves due to an underlying medical condition. Other dragons may have other commitments. Not every mother can leave her dragonettes to go hunt. And some dragons work so hard serving their empire, serving their kin, they may not have the time to forage for food or adequate shelter. So the government steps in to assist. This isn't a new concept. The Imperial Parliamentary Council has always believed in making the basic needs for a dragon accessible. At the end of the War of Unification, many dragons, peaceful dragons, especially sandwings living in the outer areas of the Mojave, were not spared from the collateral damage of the war. Many farms and other dragons who created their own sustainable food source had their farms raided, crops destroyed, and were simply just left worse off. To a new united empire, this can breed a little bit of resentment. So the first empress declared that with whatever resources were available, they would be freely handed out to whoever was in need, as a show of good faith. This, of course, has led into the modern imperial society. Any dragon, of any winglet, of any background, can freely access communal bathrooms, sleeping spaces, and feasting halls located across Pareena's major cities and settlements. All these establishments are run by the Department of Civil Service, where the Sub-Department of Public Amenities oversees these establishments, especially how they provide the resources, upkeep, and staff. Each of the public resources are located close to each other. Sometimes the domicile is right next door to the other one. There are a few rules, though, related to using public resources. Sure, you have your basic social etiquette, be polite, be clean, show respect, you get the idea. But in conjunction with the relevant imperial law, when it comes to receiving food or public shelter, a dragonette, a parent carrying an egg, a pregnant female, or a nursing female take priority support and will be allocated resources first. Well, public sleeping spaces allow dragons to seek shelter and a safe place to sleep and rest for a night. Maybe it's raining outside, or maybe a dragon has just flown from the Mojave to the first city and is in need of much needed rest. The domicile is large and spacious. In the center is a walled fire pit to provide warmth during winter. The floor is bare, save for a mountain of pillows, blankets, bedrolls, and animal skin or fur. A dragon can take any of these resources, find a spot to sleep for the night, and it's as simple as that. They can dump their belongings next to them and enjoy a nice rest. While there is no officially written rule of the public sleeping space, many dragons will leave once the sun is up, returning to their daytime duties. These public sleeping spaces are most active in the evening. It's a common courtesy to keep a hushed voice at these times. Public restrooms, bathrooms, and amenities are very vital parts of the major cities of Pareena. You gotta go somewhere, right? All amenities are hooked up into a sewer system or their regional Pacific equivalent, if they even have one. The layout of a public amenities domicile is symmetrical, but then divided down the middle. If you couldn't have guessed, each gender is segregated to their own bathroom. Each wall is signed to represent this. Inside each half of a public amenities domicile is the exact same thing. On the wall are a row of hooks with buckets of water. The water is changed daily, but soap is provided for dragons to scrub their talons. Above the bucket is a mirror. In the forward corner is a bank of small stalls, with stone or wood dividers, and a curtain to draw over the entrance. These are essentially cubicles, and inside is a small hole leading into the ground. You could probably guess what this is for. There are smaller and bigger stalls to accommodate the vast diversity of size among the winglets. Moving to the rear of the domicile are raised square basins large enough to fit a dragon. These are bathtubs. Like the water buckets, the water is changed daily in these bathtubs by unscrewing a plug inside the basin to drain the water. Finally, there are public feasting hall domiciles. Here a dragon can get a free meal, meaning no matter what, no dragon in the Empire of Pareena will ever go hungry. These feasting halls are based on the main halls seen in some schools. At the head are members of the Sub-Department of Public Amenities that hand out plates, food, and other items of sustenance. The hall is filled with low tables and pillows for a dragon to sit and eat. Meals are provided throughout the day, and there are options to fit the myriad of different dietary requirements of Pareena, like meat, fish, and fruit. The Department of Agriculture helps supply the feasting halls with such food in conjunction with the Sub-Department of Public Amenities. It's at least expected for a dragon to clean up their own plate, in a bucket provided. Now, of course, there is a lot of differences to public amenities in such areas as Claw Mountain or the Coral City. The information in this law episode represents the standard template used to create and maintain public amenities and resources, or basically, how it should be created and maintained. The Empire of Pareena likes standardization, but some areas can't accept this practice, mostly because the landscape doesn't fit the facilities demanded. You can't really build a domicile under the sea or up in the peaks of Claw Mountain. So they, of course, follow a different set of rules for their public amenities and resources. But this topic would come under public infrastructure specific to that region and is beyond the scope of this episode. Now I want to look at the subdepartment of public amenities. Its structure is almost template to a lot of the other subdepartments I've spoken about before, but it's actually one of the smallest subdepartments. It has a department headquarters full of administration staff, a group of liaison distributors. This group is responsible for coordinating with other departments and the facilities themselves to understand what resources are needed and where they are needed. There is then a detachment of public serfs. These dragons are responsible for actually operating, cleaning, and maintaining these public resources. And of course, the standard uniform of this subdepartment is exactly the same to other government uniforms, a blue armor displaying the sigil of the subdepartment. These public serfs carry the necessary equipment for the job that they are required to do, like buckets and mops. So, in conclusion, the Empire of Pareena is a modern society. It's not only modern with its rules, or modern in its military, but it can provide its dragons with everything they need. The government will freely accommodate a dragon's need to be fed, rested, and healthy. And all they ask in return is pure and utter loyalty. And that concludes another episode of the Wings of Fire spin off series, Empire of Pareena. Thank you very much for listening. I've been your host, Heatwave, signing off.